Live.
3, 2, 1, and we're live and recording. This is SHB Unfiltered, the podcast. This podcast is bloody podcast. We're still here. Chris, what episode is it?
Episode 45.
Oh, episode 45, which means we have been recording, podcasting, going live on Facebook, doing Q&As, a bunch of people who Stutter is talking about a lot of things, and we are putting ourselves on the line, walking the plank, ready to be shot down yet again, Chris. Every single day we are here, putting ourselves out there and pushing ourselves, talking about quite a few things. You know what? I just made a massive typo on the title. Have you seen it yet? I mean, that's one hell of a typo, but
How to deal with a stutter. That's fine.
I know. We will leave that to interpretation and see who rocks up. I wonder if anyone actually wants to know how to dare with a stutter. Anyway, today got the same old crew. Got myself, Ruben Pillai. We've got CJ, aka Chris Jackson, as he's sometimes called. And we've got Ayo Adesanya, who is about to open his Blue Yeti USB mic in front of us. Look at it. Go on, mate.
Yes, I have a new mic. This is the unboxing.
Hey, can you put on mute and then unbox it? So we don't hear the packaging. I think that might take a while. Cool. CJ is inspiring us all. Tell me, CJ, what's this thing I see on your screen? What's this floating device right in front of you? Talk us through it.
I'll give you a talk through.
Oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds very good. Say that again. Go on, Chris.
I'll give you a talk through and a walkthrough. But I just have to disclose that this is not an ad. I am not being sponsored. This is the Rode Pod mic that is currently linked up to the Rodecaster Pro that I invested in. Podcasting is something that I'm looking to get into a lot more especially with SHB, but with my business as well. And as Ruben's mentioned before in previous podcasts, I have started a podcast with the People's Pundit, Chris Papa. So I invested in this little bit of kit, and it makes it really easy for people with minimal editing knowledge to create a podcast. You can literally create one live. You just press record, plug all the mics in, plug all the headphones in, press record. It saves to an SD card, and it's perfect. Perfect for someone like me who doesn't really want to be messing around with too much post-production. So yeah, it's cool.
It sounds very, very cool. And Chris, you must really appreciate it. I can see the product placement right on the screen. The Rode branding is clear for everyone to see right in the middle of the screen. Perfect. Eyeline height. Brilliant.
Well, I was thinking about getting one of them covers, the foam covers. I haven't got around to ordering it yet.
It's called a dead cat, isn't it? I believe. A dead cat.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so you're more technical than me.
Yes, I am. Over to the other screen, we have Ayo Adesanya, who's struggling with his packaging. However, we can see the Blue Yeti is out. And will he plug it in? Let's see.
Yep, this is it. This is a Blue Yeti mic, USB mic. Let's try it out. 1 second.
Oh, he said carry on talking while he plugs it in. So Chris, how was your day apart from changing your life with this mic?
My day was okay, to be honest. I woke up and I got a good morning workout in. I've got my program together, bit of structure to my workouts rather than just improvise and make it up as I go. So that was good. And just been doing a bit of work for SHB again during the day and working out how this Rodecaster works. But apart from that, not too much. My brain's a bit fried, but it's okay. I'm cool. I've had a good day. How have you been today, Ruben? Working?
Yeah, today's been actually super productive in a lot of fronts. I was up from 7 working on some projects at work, also doing some editing for SHB, as I always do, investigations on some of the intricacies of podcasting, as I always do. Did some online shopping and planning. I've got actually a surprise for you guys, but I can only tell you probably on Friday or Saturday, or show you that point. I think that might be quite timely because my maths is correct. Episode 50 is on Saturday, right?
So, how do I sound? Sound the same? Do I sound better? Do I sound clever? More muffled? What's the
How
difference?
much? Yeah. How much did you pay for the mic?
About 50 quid, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, you sound a lot better. Really, really good.
Oh, are you sure?
Massive difference. Yeah.
Stop playing with me, man.
Massive difference.
It's not in it. It's not that good, is it?
What we should do now is keep talking, but unplug it first.
Yeah, it's
and then speak a bit more. So talk us through kind of the size, the weight of it, etc. Give us some specs.
It's black. It weighs about 2 kilos. It's a USB mic. It's it's quite tall.
Cool. Didn't plug it back in again.
I'm gonna plug it in now.
And I'm gonna ask a few more questions. Yeah, go on. So what's the weight again?
About 2 kilos.
Oh wow, that's a massive difference. Ain't that right, Chris?
Is it
Great
big?
value. Yeah, really good. You got the
Did you show the mics on, are
I don't know, man. It says
I'm joking.
Is it on? What? I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Is there a flashing?
It's flashing.
Light?
It's flashing.
That never means anything's on. That's what I know from tech.
What about now?
Green.
Is it working now? Do you hear me now?
Yeah, we can definitely hear you very, very clear.
So it's not working, basically.
Not working yet.
What about this?
Oh no, do you know what I've realized? On Zoom, you have to go to mic, press the arrow, and then select the mic. The mic should be there as an option. You have two options, the built-in microphone, and then you have your microphone option. So you have to select that.
Oh.
So what's in mute? There's an up arrow next to mute.
1 second.
Chris, man, we could have done this whole episode with him thinking his mic was working.
I couldn't do it to him.
Speaker. Select microphone.
Rupert was like, yeah, you sound really good.
Go on. Let's see if he's cracked it. Oh, yes. Brilliant, Aaron. Yeah, of course.
Wow, that's well clear.
Sounds really good. Who do you like better, me or Chris? Me? Oh, thanks, man. Chris,
is it working now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly working now.
Yeah, no, it's actually good.
Are you being, come on, man. Are you serious?
No, I swear down. It's actually really good.
I'm being serious. It's true.
What we have to do is put the mic somewhere stable now. So then it's consistent, and put it in front of me in the middle. And then we'll actually carry on with this podcast.
Look how confused he looks.
Dude, that was actually hilarious. That was actually hilarious. You know what? I would not have minded doing this whole 1 hour just messing around with him.
It's not working.
Dude, it's working. Shut up. We're going to start now properly. Chris, what is this guy doing?
He's trying to find somewhere to put it on.
So for anyone who's tuning in,
oh my God.
These are two options. You have the Blue Yeti microphone as modeled and advertised by Aya Adesanya, stool not included. And your other option is the Rodecaster Pro that Christopher Jackson has. Based on this in-depth review from our two demonstrators, take your pick. I think I know where I'm going to put my money. All right, guys, you ready? Come on.
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
Oh, cool. Ayo, can we hear you again? Just want to check if it's there.
How do I sound?
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Brilliant. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Today's topic is not, in fact, how to dare with a stutter, but how to date with a stutter. And I'm sorry for anyone out there who thinks we're going to give them a blueprint on how to go on a date. You can put your notepads away. I'm sorry. You won't get that kind of information here for free. However, we're going to go through some scenarios, some from personal experiences, some from stories we've heard from our good friends within the stuttering community. And we're going to have a bit of fun with this one. But Ayo, please tell me you're ready. And we'll crack on, mate, crack on. Cool, got a thumbs up. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the hypothetical scenarios, pop out the questions. You guys can answer it either with theory, or if you can speak from personal experience, please do so. Classic question we get. Ruben, I've got a problem. This girl in my class that I really like, really like, and I think she likes me as well. I'm just too scared to speak to her. Too scared. I don't know what to do. What do I do? Should I go up to her, or shall I speak to friends, or shall I DM her on Instagram or Facebook? What do I do? Please tell me.
I'm going to tell you what I used to do at school, but it's up to you, whether you want to do the same. But when I was at school and I was struggling, I would become really good friends with the girls' friends. That's what I would do. I don't actually know why. I just thought that if her friends liked me, then it will mean that she's more inclined to like me. And I can get comfortable talking to her friends and then like build my way up to talking to the person that I was interested in.
Wasn't there worry that her friends would start liking you instead? Or did that ever play into your mind? Or did you make it clear from the start that you were into their friend as opposed to
That never really crossed my mind. Never really crossed my mind. But
then maybe think back and see how many broken hearts you've created on the way to your target.
No, it's not many. It's not many. Don't worry. Definitely not many. But I think that never crossed my mind, and I probably would have made it clear. Well, I think I did make it clear at the time who I was interested in and who I wasn't. So it would have been clear, but that would have been my strategy. And then what I was hoping for is that if I started talking to her friends, I would hope that they would start talking to me and they would make it easier for me. But this is school days. As you get older, that technique becomes obsolete, to be honest. It doesn't really work as you get older, I don't think. Not as easy as it did in school days. I don't know. What was your experience?
I would kind of stand kind of on the periphery. I didn't want to like appear too keen. So I would kind of like take a step back and allow my friends to kind of like do the mingling and stuff, and then kind of get introduced into groups just through my friends. Oh, hey, this is Ruben and stuff, and then kind of start speaking to girls there. But in terms of actually pursuing things, like I think it would depend on if I was getting like a good vibe from a certain girl within that group, and then on the back of that, phone number and then text and call and everything. But in a way, it's kind of like a safe approach, isn't it? Because you're kind of eased into it. Because the big thing is the rejection part. But if your friends are already speaking to them and stuff, and if you walk in and talk, they're going to reject you. It's a bit deep.
Yeah, but then you run the risk of one of your mates taking her.
Thing is, we would kind of plan beforehand.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
careful strategy. You say, right, listen, I'm going after her. You lot assist.
No, I think it's more, I would get an idea of the others and see who they were going and who they were pursuing and stuff. And I'll just like say, you know what, you guys do whatever you want. That's cool. And I will kind of like be the Makalele role and just kind of like stabilizing things.
What, sweeping up, yeah?
Not exactly. That's more like I'll just be like backing up the attacks.
He's a married man now.
Yeah, the other key thing that I would do would be like the man marking job on their friend, just just in case there was a friend trying to make the interception, then I would make that tactical move and push up the pitch and take them out of the game. But anyway, enough football analogies. Going back to speech and stuff, how did you feel kind of speaking to girls in that situation? So you would befriend their friends, but eventually you would have to kind of make that step. What you kind of think about that time? What was going through your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I wasn't really nervous to talk to girls. That wasn't my problem. So I used to avoid it as long as I could. But once it actually happened, I was usually okay. But what worried me was, where will this lead to now? What other situations am I going to find myself in as a result of getting to know this girl? And that's what I was avoiding. And that's why I didn't really want to get involved with anyone, because I thought this is going to lead to meeting brothers and sisters, meeting parents, meeting cousins, going out on a weekend with their mates. Then I would block in front of them. So all these things were going through my head. That's what my main worry was. The one-to-one talking to a girl I like, that wasn't my problem. It was all the other things that were going through my head.
I can completely relate to that, and I will touch upon that shortly. But before I do, I want to pass the buck over to Ayo and see what he's experienced, and more importantly, how his new microphone sounds. Go on, Ayo. This is your time to shine.
How do I sound?
Oh, amazing.
Am I coming through?
Good, yeah. Go on. Carry on, dude. School, girls, what do you do?
So, wow. Basically,
you got something to hide, bro. What's going on? Sensitive
I can't
topic.
express my feelings. I guess I'm holding back my feelings.
Sensitive topic.
Well, school for me was so bad. Now I know why I'm holding back, because it was traumatic for me, not being able to talk to women, to girls my age, because I was afraid of stuttering. And from age 10 to about, I would say 17, I found it very difficult to even approach a girl. I had no fun with girls for a very long time. And the first time I actually had sex was when I just turned 18. So for me, I lost it pretty late when compared to my friends. And I feel these old feelings now coming up because it was such a bad part of my life. But what was great is when I found Tinder, and that changed the game. I was a different person, bro. I could pretend to be this person. I wasn't inside.
Just a quick one, right? I don't think you should feel too bad about not making moves between the age of 10 to 17, because Chris, what were you doing when you were 10 years old?
I was going to say, like, that's pretty normal, man. Don't worry about that.
No, but when comparing myself to what my mates were doing. I guess this is a topic I find hard to talk about when I go back to that time, because I'm such a different person now, and I can feel the tension and the pain right now. It's so fascinating how that translates into speech. But now I'm a completely different person. So if you're a person who stutters right now, you just have to disclose. That's what I do. I just told women up front I have a stutter and this is who I am. And if they don't accept that, that's their loss. But back in the day, yeah, I could not approach a woman. I couldn't even say my name. There's no chance.
What was like the biggest fear when you were speaking to girls or kind of in relationships? Because was it the rejection from that person, or the potential rejection down the line from their family and friends? Because for me personally, my fear was the second thing. Like, imagine getting into a relationship with someone and then just getting shut down by their parents or by her siblings. Like, that would be the most kind of heartbreaking thing.
Basically, just a cancellation. Basically, I couldn't cope. I didn't have the tools, the mindset to think past the stutter. Is that what you're asking?
Not that specifically. The question was, what was worse, getting rejected by the person or getting rejected by their friends and family? And that's to both of you.
To me, it's just me rejecting myself. That forget them, forget the family. I couldn't accept myself at that time. I was too embarrassed to stutter.
For me, it was the second, Ruben. For me, it was getting rejected by the person's family and them having a certain attitude towards stuttering as a whole. I always envisioned going to meet my girlfriend's parents and they'd be like, you brought me someone like can't get his words out. How's he going to provide for you? Is he even going to be able to get a job? And these things used to play on my mind. And I used to think, well, if I don't believe in myself, how am I going to convince someone's parents that I am going to be able to look after them? I'm going to be able to take care of them. I'm going to be able to be the man of the house and all this stuff. So for me, that was the biggest fear, because it meant so much to me to be able to get through that I just never felt I would ever be able to. And I had so much tension, and I avoided coming close to that situation for years.
And I guess it's an over-judgmental situation already, even if you don't start meeting your girlfriend's parents. That's full on already. And
yeah, because the parents have already got in for you anyway, and they're already there to scrutinize you, and
well, it can't be good enough really for their daughter. And the truth is, you probably will not be good enough, but they'll be happy to a certain extent. But if you got that fear of showing your stutter and them completely rejecting it, then that's the worst thing, to be honest. Because you would have got to a certain point to actually build up the courage or get to a point in the relationship to meet each other's parents. So to get shut down at that point, man, that's a tough one to swallow, I think.
That for me is a strange one, because I hit 20, 21, went university, and I started to meet girls. And for some reason, I guess my mindset just changed a lot. I was still stuttering. I still didn't have any technique, but I just stopped caring less about it. I still cared about introducing myself. I still struggled a lot with that, but I cared less. So it allowed me to take the jump, and I had a lot more success in university. But I think what helped as well was the gym. I did start the gym more aggressively, and I had a body back then. So that was helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess things like gym and kind of athletic activities, they do help to compensate for your confidence in kind of compensate for your lack of confidence in your speech by increasing your confidence in other parts of your life. But you probably know that in the end you can build up yourself in all these other areas, but when it comes down to it, or when it's crunch time and your speech fails you, then you're back to square one in that sense, and you go back to the drawing board again. And that's how it felt for me, to be honest, because you're constantly going back to the drawing board. And when my experience was more kind of similar to Chris, just keeping people at arm's length, reluctancy to pursue things like properly, or just commitment was just no way, Jose. Just pretty much, and I think I just became really comfortable just being kind of independent in that sense. I didn't kind of pursue that type of relationship for a long time. I think it was only I started to actually get more comfortable with my speech that it became easier to open up to people.
Yeah. For me, I always yearn, not always, but after about 25, I was yearning for a relationship, and I cared less about stuttering. I wanted to be in a relationship with the person I saw. And when I had that slight shift, I guess my own mindset changed and stuttering became less a part. But to be fair, I think that may come with just age as well. The older you get, the less you care about stuttering.
I'm gonna start to shift the conversation slightly, because I think we're getting a bit emotional for this topic I chose. I think we went in a direction I did not expect completely, but I'm actually gonna start to shift the conversation to an actual date. So everything that goes into a date, from planning to ordering, to impressing, and yeah, just the whole thing. So I just want to get your experiences. Probably start with you, Chris, then we'll discuss AO's TV appearance on a particular dating show. But Chris, how was your kind of experiences dating and going through the whole process whilst worrying about your speech?
It was hard. To put it bluntly, it was hard. What I would do is I would usually take a girl to the cinema, and I would make sure that I ordered the tickets online so that I didn't have to ask for them at the date. And whatever I did have to ask for, it was like minimal. So a drink or popcorn or something like that. I also like the fact that we'd be watching a film and I didn't have to speak for 2.5 hours or 2 hours, whatever it was, which isn't very good when you're trying to get to know someone and they're trying to get to know you. So what used to end up happening is we would want to go grab something to eat after. And I found that would usually be the girl that wanted to do that, because they felt they hadn't got to know you enough. They hadn't spoken to you enough. You've just been sitting there watching a film. You've not actually got to know the person. You've not had any conversation really, apart from small talk. Small talk was okay for me. It was when conversations got in depth and certain topics, and that's what I used to find difficult. So it was hard, but I used to try and plan it out as well as I could. Are you talking about the first date, or are you talking about other dates? Because other
Maybe
dates
both.
I would
Maybe both. So speak about the first one, and then obviously the other ones will be slightly different. So give both sides to it.
Yeah, because the first few, I would usually be okay. Actually, I was okay speech-wise for the majority of them. When it's one-to-one, it's fine. But then once you start to see someone, you want to or they want you to go out with their mates and you want them to come out with you and your mates. And so, no, and another fear
Carry
of
on,
mine.
sorry, carry on. So no, I was just saying, like, if it's boys night out, then boys night out.
Yeah. But there'd be
Yeah.
like couples night, other people.
Obviously, yes. Obviously,
Yeah.
obviously.
So those nights used to frighten the life out of me, because I used to have thoughts all week about when it was my turn to buy the rounds. And I used to think, oh my God, I've got to go up to the bar and order everyone's drinks. I'm the boy. I'm not going to get the girl to do it, am I? So that used to be a struggle for me. And I used to have a strategy for that. I used to have a good strategy for that. I would wait. I would never offer the first round. I would wait for someone else to offer the second round. And then I'd say, yeah, I'll come to the bar with you and I'll help you carry the drinks over. So we would go to the bar, and then I'd wait for him to order all the drinks. And then I'd say, do you know what? I don't think we're going to stay that late. So why don't I get this one and you can get the next one? They'd be like, no. I'd be like, no, I'm serious. It's fine. And I always have cash on me so that I could quickly put it over the counter. And I say, no, it's fine. I'll pay for it. And then that was me. I didn't have to order no more drinks now. So I was cool. And then I could relax for the rest of the night. But these types of events were always a real struggle for me. And I always used to panic. I wasn't really in the room properly. I wasn't really paying attention to conversations much because I was worried about when it was my round. I would sit there analyzing what drinks people are drinking. Am I going to be able to say that? Am I going to be able to say this drink? So it was tough. But once I first met Charlie's parents and I got that out the way and they knew I had a stutter and I knew that they accepted it, it was like the biggest weight lifted off my shoulders ever.
That is a mad experience in the pub.
Crazy.
That is mad. I never did that stuff. That's crazy, bro.
Wow, I used to do that all the time. I used to hate it. I used to dread thinking about going to the bar and ordering drinks. That used to be my
And you still
worst
have
nightmare.
your hair. And you still have your hair. That's weird, man.
And I still have my hair.
Didn't you ever do that thing where if it was loud, I'd type the order on my notes and just show the phone to the bar guy? Because if I was getting around them for like quite a few people, it was just a lot easier because they were not getting the same thing. It was like pint this, JD that, Hennessy this, some of them drinking vodka and stuff, and too complicated. I just typed it all out and just said, bar guy, here you go. Because the last thing I wanted to do was get through that. And then he said, wait, what? What did he say again? And then have to say it again. And then
I used to hate
again,
that.
yeah, just type it out and give it to the dude.
No, I didn't think of that. I didn't. I don't know if I would want to do that, to be honest. I don't know.
As in just type it out on your phone and just said, there you go. Then he'll just read the text himself and just make the drinks. Boom.
Yeah, perhaps that would have been easier, but that didn't really cross my mind, to be honest, at the time.
He was worried about speaking. Hey, what about you on the? I guess first of all in real life festival, and then maybe tell us about that experience on a dating with my ex. The your TV, your official TV debut.
So I will talk about first dates first.
Go for it.
So before I had any techniques, so I would say 2 years before I learned about working on my speech, I would just be myself. I would be afraid of stuttering, of course, but because my ambition was to get this girl, I would just go through it, and then I'll get the girl and just be myself for the most part, and I'll be all right. My stutter, when I was very focused, I want something. My stutter didn't really play a part. I was too focused on the goal. But when I didn't really care, or I would think more about my stuttering. But to be honest, I did not go on many dates, like for formal dates. I wasn't a formal date kind of person back then. I was something else. But anyways, talking about the experience on TV, I met her through Tinder, so that's totally different. And our first date was a walk near her house on the canal. And again, I was just myself. I just myself, yeah. If I'm honest, I don't really plan. I plan what I want to do, like go cinema, but I don't plan the minute by minute play. I go in there. I think that's part of my personality in general.
And what about dating on TV? Was that just a mad experience completely, or did you realize the scale of it when you were doing it, or did you like were you fully aware that, hang on a minute, this is all going to be aired at one point on TV?
To be honest, I was excited about talking about the charity and talking about what we're doing. I wasn't really paying much attention, thinking about her, really. I was just, yeah, if I'm honest, yeah. Me and her, the truth is, me and her agreed to go on there to promote what we're doing. At the time, I just started StopHoldingBack with Chris, and she was a yoga teacher. But when we got there, it got real fast. We had all these plans to just be nice to each other, but it went out the window and it got real. So I had to adapt in the moment, but I think I handled it well. Like, again, I was just myself, and the truth just came out. The honest God's truth just came out. So what you saw on that YouTube episode was real. It wasn't scripted. There wasn't no fakeness. It was totally real.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't have any questions about that at the moment, but I'm going to ask you guys a bunch of questions now, and I want you to let me know if you agree or disagree. You guys ready?
Ready.
Cool. So I pulled up this this web page, and it's called Help Tips About Dating Someone Who Stutters. So already there's a typo. So I'm not too confident about how this will go. But yeah, I think they really meant helpful tips about dating someone who stutters. I will email the owner of the website and point them to the error of their ways. But in the meantime, tip number 1, tell me if you agree, disagree. Literally, call BS if you want to. Give your partner enough time to finish what they're trying to say. People who stutter may be slow of speech, but it's worth waiting for. Smiley face.
True. Agree.
Agree.
I do agree, but I think wait. But I think when it's framed like that, it puts a lot of pressure on content sometimes, because you could just be saying something in passing that's taking a long time to come up, but because you're stuttering, there's like a lot of suspense and stuff. And I find sometimes if people are taking too much kind of attention or giving you too much attention, it kind of adds the pressure. Then you finish saying it and it's a complete anticlimax, and then they didn't know what to say. You didn't know what to say. Do you get what I'm saying? Agree.
Yeah, but it would be rude if they were to not give you the time to finish. So they're in a lose-lose potentially, right? Is that what you're saying? They're in a lose-lose.
Kind of.
You're also in a lose-lose because you don't want them to wait so long to make it awkward, and you want to finish what you want to say, but then you don't want the anticlimax at the end. So both of you are in a lose-lose.
Pretty much. But like, I literally depends on the conversation as well, because I've been in situations with my friends and stuff where I'd start blocking and stuff, and I'd be like saying a joke or saying something and then blocking. I finish it, and they would tell me, "Shut up, man! That's some shit story."
Yeah.
That apologies for the language, but they'll say it in a funny way. But in a professional kind of scene, if it's at work, if I'm like asking questions or getting grilled, and if I'm like blocking, but if I'm coming out with the wrong kind of answer or whatever, like they will be like, okay, but that was in like, they don't find it awkward to actually correct me. They may find it awkward to correct me because so much pressure has been put onto that moment that there's no guarantee that the content is going to be gold. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point, because there's like there's all these posts out there saying kind of like, give us time, is worth all we're waiting for and stuff. Sometimes people who start don't talk a lot of sense, and it just takes longer to come out. But I think there has to be some kind of like half and half in there. Like, you get time, but then you don't. There shouldn't be that amount of pressure to actually impress someone with everything you say, especially if you're blocking. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think it goes to the subject of people claiming the label of I'm a stutterer. So they focus more on that, and they get offended when they get interrupted. But really, you're just talking crap. It's not because you're stuttering, but because you feel you're a stutterer. That's all you are, right? So yeah, you're gonna get offended.
How annoying is it though when you say a joke and you get the whole joke out and you say the whole joke well, and then it comes to the punchline and you block on the punchline? It ruins the whole joke.
It was some dead joke then.
No. It's not. It's not always the case though. That's not always the case.
Delivery makes jokes. It's delivery makes jokes.
Yeah.
I think a bit of both. A bit of both.
No, because if someone takes too long to say the end of the joke and everybody's already kind of worked out what the joke is, it's not as effective of a punchline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, I've been told that blocking actually at times has created suspense.
Suppose it depends on the joke.
Yeah.
You're not with me, Ruben. Not with me. It's with the opposite. Like, what are you talking about? What? That's a dead joke, bruv.
I've got that plenty of times as well. But even if I haven't started, I'm going to go into the next point before we kill each other. Okay. I think we can all agree with this one. Maintain ordinary eye contact, especially when they're having trouble speaking. Don't look away. They need your attention and support even when they stutter.
I agree with that. For me, I agree.
Chris?
Yeah, I think the key word there is ordinary eye contact.
Because the worst is like, oh yeah, bless. Leave me alone, man. Just having a conversation with you. I'm not a 2-year-old.
Oh, that is really cute. That's so cute. Oh my God. Kill me now.
The next one. Don't finish what you think your partner is saying. They know what they want to say and just can't get it out as fast as you can. Guessing what the next word is could be embarrassing or insulting.
I don't agree 100% of the time.
Go on, give us your piece.
I've spoken to a couple of people who stutter who actually like it when people finish their sentence. Maybe because they are avoiding, but I don't feel that. They actually think it's just easier if the person knows what they're going to say and they see me struggling. It's fine. That's what I've been told in private by a few people who stutter.
Well, if I'm working on my speech, I don't want you to finish my sentences for me. That's me. Well, I think if I'm working on my speech, I'm trying to work on my speech, so please do not finish my sentence for me. Even if you do finish my sentence for me, I'm still going to say that word. So
I've got a question for you two. Do you guys finish the sentences of your partners? Like you know how kind of one of the classic characteristics of the good couple is when you can finish off each other's sentences. Like when they can't think the word, but you manage to think of a better word maybe, or think of the word they're trying to think of in the same way. Like, do you guys do that with your partners? And then would you get offended if they did that to you?
Me personally, I do that all the time with Angelica. I when she's talking, sometimes she gets stuck a little bit, and then I say the word or a better word, and she just carries on.
I'm interested to see what Chris
Right,
says.
didn't it?
Actually. I can see him thinking. Go on, Chris.
I don't think I do. I don't think I do that. The only thing that I have done is if Charlie starts to talk to me and then she doesn't, like she will say CJ and then she won't carry on, I'll be like, what? And then I remember Ayo was there once and I done it, and Ayo was like, what if that was you blocking? Would you be happy if she done that to you?
I remember that night. It's true. Yeah, it's funny.
Wow.
I remember that.
I was like, but she don't have a stutter, so it's not the same. He was like, no.
I'm a hypocrite, man.
Dude, you literally said the opposite a few minutes ago.
No, I guess
Hilarious.
it depends on the intention. Like, I know Angelica has not got a stutter. It's different. So if I've told her not to finish my words off because I'm working on my speech, which I have, it's different. But she's not offended because she hasn't got a stutter.
But herein lies the problem, because that is so specific. How are people meant to know?
And then their argument will be, well, I finish people's sentences who don't have a stutter, so I'm not treating you any differently to how I would act towards anyone else.
Definitely.
That's what they could argue.
Exactly.
Definitely. And I don't always finish off around the sentences, but something I do is actually when she finishes it, her one off or describe something, I think of a better way of describing it in that sense. So like, because that's kind of person I am, and I'm just a bad person.
He must get so annoyed with you.
Hey, I get
One, but with
especially
me,
now we've been quarantined together for 6 weeks.
yeah.
It didn't kill me yet.
One
Hilarious.
thing that I do that's a bad thing, it's a habit of mine I need to break, is when she's talking, I find myself interrupting her a lot. And that is something I've told her about and she's told me to work on, and I am. But maybe I think that's because of the habit of stuttering. So when I feel like I could say a word or sentence, I say it there and then, because in the back of my head, I'm not sure maybe if I'm gonna be able to say it later on. So that's something I'm becoming more aware of.
That just sounds rude. But no, but do you think that is more of a coming back to like taking the no holding back mentality to just stupid rude levels and just saying, yeah, I'm gonna say anything and just like just go crazy with it?
Now, me and her have actually had a deep conversation about this, because I used to interrupt her a lot, and I feel like it's because of my past with stuttering. I would always say my words or sentence when I feel like I can, regardless of what the person is, if the person is in their flow or not. And I guess that trait is sticking with me in little bits and pieces still.
I used to do that as well, you know. I used to do the same thing. Like if there was a group talking and I had a point to raise and I knew I was going to be able to say it, at that time, it's pretty bad to say, but I didn't care who was talking or what part of the conversation they were in. I had to say it because I didn't know if I was going to be able to say it again. So I would just come out with it.
His body man's out the way and then just take over the conversation.
You never did that, Ruben, ever?
No, I did.
Oh, see, you're not a saint, innit? You're not a saint.
No, I didn't say I was a saint. I was letting Chris say his piece first. I'm going to interrupt him now, aren't I? This compound the issue. We're going to carry on. There's a few more here, actually. Don't be afraid to talk about the stuttering, unless your partner does not want to. How do you find out? Being able to share the experience and struggles can be helpful. So that point is a bit confusing. Don't be afraid to talk about the stuttering unless your partner does not want to. So how do you find out if you can talk about it or not?
That's true. I don't agree with that. I think you should be able to talk about it regardless. And then you will just, by allowing them to see your vulnerable side, they'll open up to you and it will make the date better.
Have the two of you had experiences where the other person has actually made the first move and asked a question about stuttering?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone who's followed my journey has heard when Charlie asked me after 6 months, do you have a stutter? Because it was just it was something that we didn't talk about. She got it confirmed by her mum and then asked me about it. And that's when I really started to open up to her. I mean, I'm pretty sure she noticed it, even though I'm convinced I hid it from her for 6 months. I'm sure she noticed, but it was just like the unsaid thing. It just wasn't really spoken about because I was managing with it really well at that period of time. But yeah, I was asked about it and then I explained, and then she asked me, what do I find more difficult rather than certain situation or this situation. So I have had that, and I actually found that because it came from Charlie asking me, it made my stutter worse at that time. I feel like if I would have spoken about it first, then I would have dealt with it a lot better.
Did you think that it was something that you wanted to speak about and you just didn't have the courage to do it? And then when she brought it up, I guess that opportunity went. Is that what you're trying to
No,
say?
do you know what I think it was? I think when I met Charlie, I was in my last year of uni. And I think when I left uni and it was time to get a job and I was worried and I was struggling, it was the time to start talking about why I'm struggling to get interviews and approach agencies and send my CV off and avoid applying for this job and that job. So I think it was just naturally the time. I couldn't avoid not talking about it then because everyone was like, why aren't you applying for this job? Why aren't you doing that job? Why aren't you doing that job? And I didn't have any other excuse other than, you know what, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that job because I have a stutter.
That's tough, man. And I know from our previous conversation, we have spoken about that whole period when you were kind of like living a fraction of yourself because of your kind of inability to put yourself forward in kind of like in the job sector for those target jobs you're going for. Did you feel that maybe affected the way you handled yourself around Charlie, and you felt that you just wanted to avoid the subject completely at that point? Because I know you said before that she didn't know about it for the first 6 months of your relationship. And was that because you wanted to, I guess, postpone that whole conversation as much as possible? Because
No, I just became very good at word swapping and avoiding and using strategies and planning ahead and thinking ahead. But when it came to getting a job, that's when things just changed for the worse. I remember we done a reunion, a university reunion. So we actually went back to uni for a night out with all my closest uni friends and all their girlfriends. And it was 4 of us and all the girlfriends. And that's when it really hit hardest because those 3 had their jobs and they were doing well and everyone was talking about their jobs. And I was the only one still unemployed out of all of them at that time. And it was one of them things where my closest friend, Ryan, he must have said to everyone, like, let's not ask CJ what he's up to or talk to him about work because he hasn't got a job and he might not want to talk about it. And I remember someone asked me, so what are you doing now, CJ? And Ryan looked at them as if to say, I swear I told you about this. And that's when it really hit me like, wow, I can't progress now. So I need to talk about it. I need to do something.
How did that feel actually? Because I don't like
Humiliating is the word. The only word to describe it at that time is humiliating. You're standing there with 7 other people.
yeah.
They've all graduated. You've actually got a higher mark than the majority of people there.
Mm-hmm.
I got a higher grade than, I think only one person in that group got a higher grade than me at uni, and they've all got their jobs. And I'm standing there and I haven't even begun to apply because I'm too scared.
That's madness, man. Because I think I was just really oblivious, but I can't remember a time when I've noticed people tiptoeing around me and actually planned and kind of intended to tiptoe purely.
I don't know that. That's not 100%, but I think by the way Ryan reacted, I could tell that a conversation may have been had beforehand, because I was always in contact with him and he knew about my speech and how much I struggled.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me throughout uni as well, presentations and stuff. So I think he kind of gave everyone a heads up. But yeah, it was
That's really interesting. Really, really
it was
interesting.
humiliating, man.
Yeah.
It was humiliating. But now I think I needed to go through that because it all held me in good stead for when I did want to work on my speech, because I knew I didn't ever want to find myself in a situation like that ever again. I don't know if you lot have had similar situations to that or experiences, or I don't know the circles you mixed in or how you were, but Ruben, I know that you were quite comfortable to apply for jobs, so that wouldn't be a worry for you. Like if you ever went to a Ranger's parents and they asked, okay, so what you up to? I had to say, oh, to be honest, I'm still trying to find my feet, still trying to work a few things out. You know, did you ever have that?
That's probably part of why I was, I guess, a bit more reluctant to get myself into that kind of situation really early on, because by the time I met them, I was already working kind of in banking and finance for some time, like a couple of years, and fairly junior still, but like a bit more, I had a bit more like attraction there in terms of that industry, because it would be completely different if I was just like a graduate with kind of obviously a lot in front of me, but not much behind me to actually shout about. So I would still be in flux in that sense. And yeah, you said that I didn't have any problem putting myself forward for these types of jobs, but based on our conversations, it was difficult for me. Like I've literally had recruiters or the in-house HR team say to me over the phone, look, like we can't take it on, we can't put you in front of clients. We just can't do that. I'm really sorry. And their tone was like almost sympathetic, very sympathetic. They were really nice over the phone, but they just said, look, we just can't do it. And hearing that at age 20, 21, kind of about to graduate, isn't the best thing to hear, is it?
You know what, Ruben? That would make some people go suicidal, bro. The fact you're still alive after hearing that, bro, that's a madness. I can't imagine someone saying your life is basically over. You can't do nothing because of your star. Essentially, that's what they were telling you. You will never amount to nothing in that industry because bro, you're strong, bro.
But that comes down to just my personality. I was just oblivious. Because I told the person, no, I think like I told the person that I'm sorry, but I think that you are completely wrong. But we are both entitled to our opinions.
If someone done that to me at that time, I would have been finished. I would have been finished.
I would have been gone, bro.
But no, I'm just saying, like in that situation, I was probably applying to like 10, 20, 30 places on the spin. So purely just getting that kind of one bad reaction from that person. Well, just put that behind me, go on to the next one, then the next one, then the next one. Because for me, it was just a numbers game.
You know what? That
Some point it'll come. Some point it'll come. Just gotta keep going, because I didn't feel entitled at all. I did not feel entitled. I felt like I had to work for it, because I've always been told, all right, you have to work, but you start to say, so you have to work more. You can't feel entitled. You can't feel that that the world owes you anything. In fact, you have to work more to bridge the gap. And that's how I've always done everything. Is how I've always conducted everything.
Yeah, I was told the same thing, but I just couldn't get my mind around it. I just couldn't get my head together to attack it.
Different people, I don't know, like different people in your friend circles, family circles, different dynamics, different types of schools. I'm from South London, you're from East London, as in there's different things, right?
Variables.
Different variables, yeah. And it's hard to pinpoint like where and why, isn't it?
But you know what? It just shows how powerful the mind is. Your mind can make you or break you. That's the moral of the story.
But the problem is, like, at that point, it was pure coincidence that I was thinking like that.
Yeah, but your mindset.
This wasn't something I'd read or like done any self-help stuff like I've done recently in recent years. Back then, I didn't do any of that type of stuff. But I've just kind of kept going, and because I knew, well, if I didn't do this, then what was the other option?
Well, for me, my attitude was, well, I'm not going to be able to get a job, so I have to create my own job for myself. And that's where I always had a passion to want to do my own business. I just didn't expect to be doing it that soon. I thought I was going to go through my 2 or 3 jobs, and then I would find something that I wanted to do on my own. And I expected it to be off the back of something that I did in a job. So your attitude was, okay, they're not going to give me a job. I'm going to the next one and the next one and the next one, because it's a numbers game. My attitude was, okay, I'm not able to do this, so I have to create my own job. I don't know. What was your attitude, Aya?
Wait.
Go on, Ruben.
Before you go,
For the best.
before you go here, like for me, Chris, it was the opposite, because I thought, okay, because of my speech, I would not be able to create my own business and job. That's why for me that was the only route to take. But for you, because you thought, okay, so I have to start a business and create a job. But I had always associated kind of self-employed or starting a business with fluent speech, with good speech. That's what I had always associated to. So so that's why I didn't. That's why I already knew that was not an option for me.
It's so weird how we think.
It's really interesting, like how we thought of these two things in different ways.
Yeah, for me, in general, hope for the best. That's what it was. Hope for the best. Went to Loughborough University. I did business, finance, and I couldn't get a job, man. I tried a couple of times, but then I gave up because I was so embarrassed of the Stutter. I just gave up, and then I applied for jobs where I did not have to go through the interview process, like the phone interviews, the assessment centers. I hated assessment centers. If I ever saw an application with a phone interview and an assessment center interview, next, and all the jobs in finance had that process. So I went for jobs in warehouses. I went for security jobs, stuff like that, easy jobs, one interview face to face. And I was just hope for the best, hope to just survive. That was my strategy for 5 years.
All right, lads, I think we're coming up to time. I know we've done a job specific episode before, but I think it will be really good to revisit it because I think that was just me and you, Chris, right? We
Yeah, I
did the
think so, yeah.
interview process one where I told a few mad stories, but I think it would be really good to do another one with Ayo Adesanya in a few days' time because, dude, we podcast every day. There's no rule against going back and redoing topics and adding more stuff with different people. Isn't that right, Chris?
This is our podcast. We choose
Mate.
what topic we want to do every episode, even if you've done it before.
And he's got new microphones as well. Brilliant.
Come with professional mics. Ayo's got his mic. Ruben will have a mic soon.
6th of May, Amazon Prime. Come on. Come a sound blocker on the way. But guys, we did slightly deviate towards the end, but I think it was really useful. And I actually enjoyed the kind of like deep discussions about, first of all, the whole dating bit and double dating and going out with friends and all the kind of add-on stuff you get with going out with someone. And B, towards the end, talking about the whole kind of like prospects and how to introduce yourself to your potential in-laws and stuff and convince them that you're good enough for their daughters. It's a madness, isn't it?
It's a madness. That's the only way to describe it.
It's a tough life for a person who stutters.
Oh, yes. However, I'm just going to sign off with this last point actually from his website that's given us so much in this episode. Are you ready for it? In summary, just talk with the person you are dating like anyone else. They can't help that they stutter and will appreciate the way you treat them. And I'm sure we can all agree with that, hopefully. Right, guys?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a yes.
I guess so.
I'll take that as a resounding yes. I'm going to turn my attention to the Facebook feed because we haven't really given it much love today, but I was going to see what's happening. After young, don't interviewers pick up on insecurities of a person who stammers? If you were a boss, would you want to employ someone who came over nervous? I've interviewed people before, and if I feel like they are suited for the team and can get the job done, come on board, my friends. Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I've interviewed a few people before. And look, nervousness isn't the end of the world because it could potentially show that they care and they really want that job. But, you know, being unsure about yourself and your ability to do that job is what interviewers will be looking for.
Cool. And last comment from Callum for the day is, I'm gonna love reading out this one. All I can say is Champions League tier episode, lads. Relevant, quality entertainment, and 100% relatable. In brackets, one of my comfort zone challenges coming up is to ask a girl on a date. Callum, good luck. And if you need any help,
How?
pick one of us.
How? Zoom? On Zoom?
Dude, he didn't say anything in the comments. We aren't speaking to him. You can ask him afterwards. But if you want any help, you can pick either one of us to assist you. You've got your choice between just go for it and don't think about anything else, Ayo. Speak to their friends and worm your way into their circle with Chris. Or get your friends to pick off the other friends and leave her stranded for you to swoop in and save the day, Ruben. These are your three choices. It's all up to you, Callum. It's all up to you. Guys, thank you very much. It's been a great episode. I've enjoyed it. Hope you two have as well, because I think at times I could see Ayo in pain just thinking about some of his experiences, and I can see him shaking his head right now. Go on, lads. Go on, lads. Last few lines before we put this one in the books. Ayo Adesanya, go on. Come on, man.
This was a good episode. Can't wait for the next one.
Cool. Chris.
In the words of Callum Schofield, Champions League tier episode.
Champions League tier episode, man.
We need the Champions League music now.
Oh, mate, that'll be brilliant. Because when I started to read that, I was afraid he would say Carabao Cup, but we made the Champions League. We made the Champions League, which is even better. But guys, thank you very much as always. One of the highlights of my day, and I always say this when I look back on lockdown and self-isolation and all this kind of stuff. This is the number one achievement. So thank you very much for creating this together and embarking on this journey together. Guys, my name is Rimplai, CJ, Ayo Adesanya. This is SHB Unfiltered, episode 45, How to Dare with a Stutter. Date, jobs, we went through a number of things. Thank you very much for tuning in. Always remember, whatever you're doing, dating, interviewing, try and impress people, always remember, stop holding back.